Welcome, everybody. So glad you're here for our third session, Field Talk, presenting topics A and B using psychology of self-sufficiency. I'm Adrienne Selvage from Public Strategies. I'm happy to introduce Tracey Pike. She's the Executive Director of Ascend. Tracey, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My only regret is that we are not in person. I would love, love, love for us to be networking personally, but this is really the next best thing because we have the opportunity now to kind of unpack and share our own lived experiences in breakout rooms. So I'm so excited that everyone came back to this particular session because I think this is kind of where rubber meets the road on a personal level for our own personal programming, right? So as you are probably well aware via Zoom and living kind of this way for the last few years, we are going to go into the breakout rooms and you're going to have time to then share and network. So we want to make sure everybody turns their camera on because that's really the fullest effect of feeling like we're together and really, gives fellow participants somebody to see, to talk to. We are going to ask you to remember the breakout room that you are assigned to because when we all report back, which by the way, we're going to need to make sure we have a spokesperson for your room. So remember your room and designate, and you'll be walked through this through some of the facilitators' guidance. But remember your room because we'll report back because we want to hear from everyone. And you should have ample time to answer 3 basic questions that were kind of guide us into our conversations. So without further ado, we will go into our breakout rooms, but let me put the questions on the next slide. And if you have a cell phone and wouldn't mind screenshotting that to kind of guide you, but also there will be a facilitator assigned to your room so that you can, that will guide you through these questions too. And I believe Julie Marchbanks will probably broadcast that question at periodic times throughout your time together. So we're going to have about a 25-minute breakout, but it's pretty structured and make sure everybody gets a chance to participate. So we will see you back in about 25 minutes for a group share out. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had as robust conversation as we did. We had a few shy people in our room, but I was actually in breakout room number 1, and we have someone to share out for us. And we're gonna, for the sake of time, just be brief on our biggest takeaways, reporting back how we can, what we saw, I guess, what barriers, and then what type of strategies that we found, and maybe just a big takeaway. So how about Rosie, where are you from breakout room number 1?
Thank you, Tracey. So in group number 1, some of the barriers that was listed included someone shared about single parenting, that it has become so normalized that some people are not really looking into 2 people relationships or marriage, and also the imprisonment of fathers and substance abuse and the youth who struggle to take care of their parents and hopelessness among the society. And also there were issues of transportation and facing trauma and the lack of support. And so some of the practical strategies that shared was Tracey mentioned something called Trigger Hope. And this is just to help move the mindset of the youth. And some shared community partnership, that it was so important to find partnerships with community members who are able to push for support and things like that. And also just finding adults that people can trust and encourage to find help with them. And so we also talked about how a deeper understanding of psychological approach could enhance the approach. And so some of the ideas that were mentioned was just being authentic and giving people part of yourself, and also using social media as a platform to for people's voice to be heard. Thank you.
Wow, Rosie, that was pretty robust. I'm impressed. I had asked the group how we could trigger hope. I think that's what you're referring to there. I was just wondering if we we're worried about triggering trauma if we could figure out how to trigger hope. So thank you, Rosie. Good representation for group 1. How about group number 2? Breakout room number 2. Who is your spokesperson? Could you please unmute? Hey, Kennedy, I see you waving.
Hi, I'm the spokesperson for group number 2.
Hey.
So for number 1 with the barriers, we definitely spoke on like the foundation that young people have. So similar to group number 1, what they see at home kind of becomes normalized. We talked about social norms and the fact that students think that everybody is literally doing it. So they think that they should be doing it too. Peer pressure, and with that can also be a lack of accountability. So someone in our group spoke on the program that they do, like how they can make that program last longer than they're there. And one of those things is through accountability through like another young person, maybe. So that would be great if we could get some accountability with our young people, whether that's with a peer or a trusted adult. And then also misinformation that like sex means love, and that's not always the case. With strategies, we spoke about role playing, practical skills, whether that's like negotiating your boundaries or whatnot. Someone spoke on writing out positive and negative consequences that could come from like a big decision, and letting the students weigh out, okay, is this a good choice or a bad choice based on these consequences in front of me? And then not shying away from like edgy questions in a classroom. Don't be scared to answer those. And then our biggest takeaway, the reflective activities like journaling really resonated with everyone in our group. They really spoke on the value of like letting young people have a journal and write out their goals and their hopes and their dreams. And yeah, that seemed to be a really popular takeaway from our group. So
Wow. Again, sounds like you all had some very robust conversation with really practical information. I don't want to chime in too much about it because I don't want to steal from 3 through 10's group share out. So go ahead and unmute yourself, spokesperson for group number 3. Who is chat room 3's spokesperson?
Hi, that's me. I'm Cheryl Williams. I represent Beginnings New Outreach in Columbus, Georgia. And my group was group number 3, and we were just full of examples. And one of our first things was that we felt some of the barriers were in pertainance to lack of examples, popular culture, musical influence, social media pressures, making it look like everything is so rosy with sex when it's not, lack of modeling, who's doing it, who's not doing sex, even brain development. We forget about that, and we have to take that also into consideration. Generational norms, what has been normal throughout my generation, traumas, cultural influences, and worldviews. We also talked about foundational structures. What did my foundation look like? And also peer pressure. Everybody's doing it, like we heard mentioned before. So we just kind of really dug into a lot of examples. It was really interesting to see where everyone's head was when it came to barriers. But when we went to strategies, one of the first things that was mentioned was we need to practice listening. Dr. Hong talked about that. He would go in with one perception and come out with another. Creating role models, just becoming a consistent adult in youth lives. We don't see that a lot. Introducing things outside of their set norms, taking them out of their environment to let them know that this is not the only way, or this is not the only thing that's going on. Encouraging youth, their self-worth and self-value. How they feel about their self will definitely be an impact on how they deal with having sex outside of marriage or creating these opportunities. We also talked about wording. I thought that was excellent. The way we word stuff, youth can take that a whole different way. But if we break it down and word it into an example that they can understand, then it would be great. And also having successful examples from the community that did overcome these barriers. And I think the biggest intake from our group was just us trying to get all of these things prepared to implement in our group. How do we set these up as strategies? How do we make this look inviting to youth? So I think that was the biggest takeaway for us.
Wow, I'm so impressed. I mean, as many barriers as you discussed, I was like, wow, did you have time for strategies? But what practical strategies? Oh,
Yeah.
you guys, I'm so impressed. Very good. I see Scott Roby down there cheering. Must have been your group. All righty. Thank you. Beat that, chat room number 4. All right. Where's breakout room number 4?
Here we are. So for question number 1, some of the barriers we put were a lot of youth wanted instant gratification. But depending on where we work, some of them were actually giving them what a goal is. They don't even know what a goal would be. So giving that knowledge of a goal and then helping them how to achieve a goal. Peer pressure is still alive and kicking. The other is learning what their emotions are so they stop living through their emotions. Also, a lack of access and opportunity for them to explore their self. So within that, if that's a limitation, there's going to be a limitation to explore beyond that.
Great. How about some big, how about for the sake of time, your strategy? Big takeaway strategy.
Oh, number 2. So, for PATH, we do a lot. Our curriculum introduces a wonderful way of learning about the self, their esteem, confidence, worth, determination. What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do I get there? How do we build it? So within that, the other individuals spoke on connecting them to the community, which helps them feel connected to their environment.
Good.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of themes. Yeah. Community, because no one entity does everything, right? So community partnership is important. Thanks, Sandy. For the sake of time, let's go to group share out, breakout room number 5. Who is spokesperson for number 5? How about 1 minute or less? Give me your biggest, barrier and your biggest strategy to remedy it. Was that you, Vincent?
Yes. Hello. I'm representing group number 5. One of the biggest takeaways for me was Greg shared about a barrier to goal setting is students just entering high school are wanting to just be free from maybe the more protective boundaries of parents in middle school. And they just don't quite know the commitment that's required to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. And so they set big goals, but they know what's responsible, which is goal setting. They just don't want to do it right now. And so that's a barrier he sees in the classroom. A big strategy was Greg also shared down at More Than Conquerors community service learning projects. And then Brianna in Texas talked about in their youth groups, modeling for them how to be a leader in a group, how to lead a meeting, and then giving them the opportunity to do that as well. So those were major takeaways for us.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Vincent. And very succinct and concise for our time together. So how about group number 6?
Hello, I'm Reed from group number 6. And some of the barriers we discussed were even just the brain development of youth, which I've heard others say, not even knowing what they want and needing guidance to figure that out, family dynamics and what patterns they're exposed to and are familiar with, financial and housing concerns, irregularity, and instability of structures such as in school and with the pandemic, and also having lack of teen spaces to engage with other teens in real time. Right. And then some strategies we discussed are getting rid of barriers in our own minds so we can best show up for the youth, not sugarcoating for them, investigating happiness and what that means to them. And something we really dove into is listening to their music and really being able to connect with them in terms of what they're being exposed to through what music they're listening to and the environment that creates for them. And don't try to be cool, be real.
That's right. Don't try to fake it. But listening to their music, I love that idea too. And maybe finding some positive music. There is some out there. So thanks, Reed. How about group number 7?
Hi, it's Deanna Arroyo from Payment Prevention Partnership. So shout out to Group 7. You guys were awesome. We have a lot of stuff, but since we're trying to rush around here, I think I wanted to really focus on that a lot of these young people now have a fear of one, a lot of pressure to make decisions and the fear of making the wrong decision. So we talked about some strategies might be things like dream boards, maybe activities like someone brought up the Marshmallow Tower activity, and really helping them to build strong foundations to make those decisions. And there's always do-overs. And we have to allow them to know it's okay to make the wrong decision. You've got a chance to make a do-over. And I think, for those of us who are working with this and the theories and so forth, and we've heard a lot of this already, just show up. Be intentional with your words and your word choices. Believe in them. Again, allow them to fail, and use sometimes those barriers they have as a way of reinforcing the positive things and shifting the framework or shifting the mind thoughts. So that hope that we've all been talking about. So.
Oh, wow. I love it, Deanne. Thank you so much. Sounds like Group 7 rocked it. How about Group number 8?
Okay, I'll share for group number 8. Of course, you all are great, and a lot of things have already been mentioned, but just upbringing, social norms, not having that role model to try to look after the hierarchy of needs, and maybe they're not in complete control of all their decisions at this point. So not having that strong support system behind them can be a huge barrier. Some strategies. I think the most important thing is relationship building and creating that safe space and that environment where they feel comfortable coming in and sharing their real experiences and what they're really going through.
Yeah.
Also being that trusted, caring adult for them so they know they do have somebody in their corner and they have somebody there for guidance. Success sequencing and making them understand why the sequencing is so important and how it can really impact their lives. Social and emotional learning is huge because a lot of them don't know how to even reach out the emotions they're having and how to deal with those certain emotions.
Right.
And then maybe the last one, maybe just to build the confidence and try to empower our youth.
Yeah. We got our work cut out for us, but man, all these practical strategies are just so practical and useful for our programming and can be universally transferable to all other types of programming.
Mickey Pressure, representing group number 9. Most of what has been said, our group just rocked it. But so I want to just share a couple things that may not have been touched upon. One was a barrier could be not getting past the poor decisions you've already made. So some kids just can't get past that. Another, I thought this was really interesting. They said that they'd even deal with a lot of people from stable 2-parent homes, and yet there isn't the support system in place even for them. So groups, educators to help them figure out what makes them thrive. In terms of practical strategies, there were tons of them, really good. A lot of examples. Listen and help them identify what they want to do and not to try to conform them into the mold that we think is right for them. Another one that I thought was incredible was to incorporate technology. And because so many of us say limit, 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 and then someone pointed out in our group that really it could be a positive thing. Continually encourage and then love on them regardless of their past. And referrals was something I hadn't heard before. That one of our participants said, really connecting them with people in the community that are going to help them. And
Great. Thank you, Vicki.
Yeah. And the last one was systemic barriers to get to not just the internal, but some of the systemic things as well.
Oh, wow. Very.
I know we're having to.
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. I wish I could comment on all these, but for the sake of time, David, take us home. Bring it home.
Hi again, everybody. So be talking for group 10. So 2 of the barriers that stuck out in our group was the youth coming from already broken or blended homes.
Yeah.
So that was a unique challenge. And another unique challenge was the lack of being able to teach populations that only spoke one particular language. For the practical strategy, hiring bilingual facilitators and translators, and then also embracing technology. And then lastly, for the psychological self-sufficiency, our group really spoke about being genuine in instruction and bonding with them. That goes a long way, getting your message across. And then lastly, just self-reflection, not only for the youth that are served, but also for the program staff, because at the end of the day, that also does go a long way.
David, you did not disappoint. That is such a really strong note to end on. Right. Pamela's down there clapping. So thank you so much. You all, this is the power of these sessions where we learn from each other. There is so much information just right here among us. You are the professionals, the boots on the ground. Keep up the great work. We are going to see you tomorrow, where we will get to learn more from Dr. Hong, which he's already got me on the edge of my seat. So we will see you tomorrow, and we'll do this again at the end of tomorrow's sessions as well. So I'll see you back then. Thank you all.